because it's scary to just and stay with that. And we have learned that you need to be kind of nice and polite and explain, and your emotions need to be rational. And our emotions are not. Like there's something happening in the body, and then I'm like angry, sad, excited. There might be explanation, maybe it's not. It doesn't matter. What matters is this is how I am, and I'm telling you what happens in you now. Yeah. But it is because we've been not taught that way. Like when we are growing up and at school, you need to explain. There's no celebration of, I didn't get it. I don't understand. Oh, I'm confused. I feel stupid. I like you. I'm not sure about you. Which is how we are. Hi.
So yeah, we've gotten to know each other the last couple of years. Like you've been doing some workshops in Copenhagen in my house, and I went to the honesty gathering last year, and yeah, I've gotten more and more interested in sort of what is the honesty world like, and what is the radical honesty practice, and how does it place itself sort of in this field of relational practices. Yeah, so that's what I would like to explore with you for the next hour or so. But yeah, maybe you can start by just telling us who you are and how you came into radical honesty, and yeah, your journey with this.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm Tuulia. I'm from Finland, and I don't know if it's somehow typical path for at least I've seen other people in a similar way where I just march on with life, and then it's all of a sudden like, whoa, hang on a second, who am I? What do I want with my life? Did I really like truly live the life I want to live, or was I more fulfilling other people's expectations, especially my dad's? And the wake up call happened when I was around 38 or so. I'm now 53. So about 15 years ago, it was also a bit like, coming halfway of my life. Like there's no time to waste in a way. When I was in my 20s, there was just like so much time, and it was even time to be bored. And now it's not like that. Like, I want to like make most of the time I have. So I kind of explore different things, NLP, different therapies, quite a few different things. I went to the Landmark Forum, and then I ran into Radical Honesty, and I went to a 7-day retreat with Brad Blanton, the founder of Radical Honesty. And I was a bit like, okay, wow. So I thought I was pretty straightforward and honest, and this is like a totally different level. Even in the introduction round, I was just like, oh my goodness, this is different. And I was scared and a bit like nervous, like, oof. And then also very intrigued, like, I want more of this. So what is it if I could just be myself? That there's nothing I need to like change and improve and work on ongoingly, but it's just like, who am I and what is there to show? Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. If there's an invitation to be exactly as I am. So that was very, very interesting to me.
I'm curious when you say that there's this like you thought what you knew what honesty was, and then you had a completely different experience. I imagine that a lot of people have so this sense of like, oh yeah, I'm pretty honest with myself. It's not like I'm lying to people around me. So what's the difference?
Yeah, that's like really the core for me. So the lying part is maybe less important because most of us don't lie, but it's this ongoing withholding and managing. Like, is it okay to be fully me with this person? Oh, is it okay to share all of that with this person? Maybe I need to be nice and pleasing with that person because they cannot take it anyway. And with that kind of thinking, I'm already placing myself above the other. Like, I choose what they can take or not. I choose what is right for them rather than just asking them, and not doing it in like without any care, but still like meeting people in eye level. Hey, this is who I am. Who are you? So yeah, this not withholding part, and especially not withholding when I'm feeling like embarrassed or ashamed or shy or angry or sad or just like confused. So allowing all those things that is easier to push down and often are pushed down, especially like in work context or maybe in some social situations when you don't know people very well. Or like, for example, in my childhood friends, we had certain patterns of being together. So then changing that, hey, actually, I want to be able to talk about everything. I want to show everything. How can we change this dynamic? Is it okay for you if everything is allowed here? And yeah, I think that's very powerful. And yeah, it can be quite scary as well, because then I'm not hiding anything. So you could use it against me too. So then it's kind of overriding that. Well, actually, I have secrets, you have secrets, everybody does. And my petty little secrets are not that big of a deal in the end of the day. They're not quite as exciting as I think. So being in that mindset that actually people can know like unpleasant stuff about me, and it's not gonna hurt me. Quite the opposite. It frees me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it reminds me of like one of the themes that often come up for me through practice is this like it's there seems to be such a big thing that's just getting out of my own narcissism. Like getting over myself and not falling into this place where it's like, oh, my problems or my secrets is like the most important thing in the world. And I'm so unique and different from everybody else, and they would never be able to understand me because I suffer in these unique ways. That sounds like
Yeah.
similar to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because in my experience now, I have been working with groups for 11 years, and the secrets are similar. I mean, not exactly the same. There's, of course, nuance, and people have their unique life paths. And still, we as human animals, we are so similar in many ways that it's not quite as dramatic as we think. And also, it's more dramatic in the head, and then just voicing it, feeling my body, being with the sensations that there may be unpleasant sensations, and just allowing that all to be there. It's very freeing, and it's not after verbalizing something, it's actually far less scary than the mind lets me think.
Could you name just like 5 main themes of, I don't know, in this territory of secrets or withholds that come up in your workshops?
Yeah, well, a big one is anything to do with mom and dad. So all the pain, anger, sadness, also appreciation at times towards the parents. So it's kind of, many of us didn't do the transition of, I'm a small person, I'm kind of dependent on my parents, I need to behave. So this kind of a bit of a survival tactic that many of us had for good reasons. And then we kind of go into adulthood still pleasing, withholding, and maybe some parents don't want that. They actually do want to get to know their kids. They do want to know, well, even the unpleasant stuff, especially when the parents are aging and they are about to die. Then that's like the time, in my opinion, to really connect in a real way. Hey, this is who I am. This is what is troubling me from my childhood. So all the childhood stuff. Then attractions. So people create a lot of misery by withholding attractions. I'm interested in this person. Oh, and I'm interested in that person too. And then making it mean something huge. Like if I have an attraction, then I need to act on it, or it's something really unusual and big, rather, this is a normal human thing. My body reacts in a certain way, and I'm a bit like, wow. And then there's a separate process of what I do with it. But yeah, just withholding and pushing it down all the time, then actually I think we are kind of pushing down our life force and being fully who we are, because as animals we have this like, and some attraction is sexual, some is maybe less sexual. The sexual part is more tricky for people because there's maybe a bit of more in the line like, oh, I've been rejected before and they think I'm a jerk, or this is so inappropriate, or they are in a relationship, so of course I cannot have these feelings. Well, I do. So that's second. So parents, attractions, and then anger in general. So anger towards parents, anger towards current partners, friends, bosses, this kind of bottled up thing, like I'm just pushing it down, I'm not feeling angry, but I'm actually, and then ongoingly going around being a bit angry, pissy, passive aggressive, because anger does come out, whether directly or indirectly. So one thing we do is to allow anger. If you're angry, you're angry. It's not a big deal. It can be sometimes big like expression. Sometimes it's not even that huge of an expression, but just seeing what is there. It's actually, for me, anger is so important, because when we push that down, we tend to push down a lot other things, like the liveliness, like the real connection, because the other one smells there's something that is not being said. And in a way, it's a very vulnerable place when it's not like raging, but just like, oh, I'm angry at you for that. Oh, I didn't like that. Feeling the tenseness in my body, and then staying in contact. And oftentimes people actually like it. They appreciate me and others for directly expressing what we like and don't like, what is upsetting us. So yeah, anger definitely is there. Then things around shame. It could be different things for different people. Body shame is a big one. Sometimes shame about past actions or some qualities we have. And yeah, sometimes it's really like taking a huge place when looking from the outside is like, oh, I cannot see that. Like, what is wrong with your teeth? I just, I've known you for years. I never had any thought of your teeth. And then this person goes around year after year having like not smiling maybe fully or something. So yeah, whatever we are shameful of, let's hear it. I tend to think that the shame breeds in shadows, and what we bring forward, it's actually has less power because it's in the light, everybody sees it, and oftentimes they're not such a big deal. So those are the main things come to my mind right now.
Cool. So you said something before about this, like that people notice when we're angry, even if we don't say it. It's like I've grown a bit radical with that idea in a way where for me it looks like we already know each other
Yeah.
just from
Yeah.
being in a space together. And then the work
Uh-huh.
we do is actually just bringing consciousness to what we already know, because it's already sensed in some way. And there's some kind of relief that happens when it's like I reveal that I'm angry at you, and you're like, oh, yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
knew that. And it's like, thank you for bringing it. Is it similar for you that sort of the practice is to just bring what is already felt into the room?
Yeah, totally. And I think sometimes it's like I'm not quite sure what is here, but I'm feeling uneasy with you, or there's something incomplete with you, or I'm avoiding you. And then just even starting to voice from there. And then, oh, I didn't like when yesterday you said this and that. Or and sometimes they're so small, so I might not immediately access what's the actual thing, but there is something and we both feel it. So I think you're totally right that, and our bodies feel it. So there's some like uneasiness or tenseness or even pain, or just like a natural pull away, because it's not so easy for our bodies to be in a situation where it's uncomfortable. So yeah, I think it's either we already are fully aware and we just don't want to take the risk, or we don't know exactly what it is, and then starting to name it together we can find out. And sometimes we don't even know. I have difficulty like staying in eye contact with you. I don't know what it is, and I'm just sharing with you. And then, boom, things start to change. Oh, actually, it's a little bit easier. You're still looking at me. I'm kind of witnessing some compassion, some like presence, maybe less judgment than I thought. So, yeah, this whole process of just being vulnerable, and so many times my vulnerability invites the other person's vulnerability, and then we're just together really in a space of exploring rather than judging. And if the judgment is there, and sometimes it is there, that's fine. I'd rather hear it because we make it so much bigger. So we might sense there's something and we think it's huge, especially if I'm sensing it from the other. Like, yeah, they hate my guts. And then it's tiny, like they just really dislike my red pants. Like, so our body doesn't kind of feel the right volume often. So we create misery for nothing or very small things.
Yeah. It's nice to hear you speak to the not knowing, or like meeting in the not knowing, or being honest about that. I think sometimes I've experienced radical honesty practice to be very much about the known, or like the bringing what I know, and not so much about that aspect of something is here, but I don't know what it is. Do you want to explore it with me? It's nice to have that opened up
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah, and you're right. Sometimes it is like, oh, I'm angry at you for using that word. I didn't like it, or the way you were looking elsewhere when I was talking to you. And then, even though I'm not really exploring, then something does come up like, oh shit, you remind me of my dad. So even if I think I truly know what is going on here, what is going on in me, then just allowing that verbalization, then other things do tend to surface. So I think it's kind of both. I might know, but then there's all the other stuff I don't know. So if we allow the both layers, like the actual thing that I'm pretty clear about, and then all the rest that starts to bubble up, and often there is quite a lot, and that can be the really rich thing of, I use the word healing, and not in a kind of flipping way, but it's like, oh, I was able to be with you with this like unpleasant thing, or even pain in me, or the anger, and you didn't run away. Because we do, of course, all have experiences where we were pushed down and shut down, or it was too scary or something. So kind of replacing those childhood experiences, often childhood experiences, with something like eye to eye, adult, I'm here, you are there. We don't need to agree on everything. You don't need to like everything about me, and we're staying. So for me, the staying when it gets tricky is like the maybe one of the biggest things.
Can you say more about that? Because this has been one of my sort of slightly unpleasant experiences with practitioners of radical honesty. Uh, that I've sometimes had this experience of sort of people throwing truth at each other and then
Uh-huh.
leaving. And I imagine that's actually not the practice, but it seems to happen quite a bit. It also happens in other
Mm.
practices, that especially when we start learning, it's like, oh, I should reveal myself, and then it becomes, what's the vulnerable thing I can say, and then we sort of throw it out, and then we get scared. Is my sense of it, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, now it's delivered, so I'm going to go back. So what can you say more about the staying quality?
Yeah. Well, in my experience, it's like first we withhold so much, and then there's like, wow, I'm actually allowed to express everything. And then people go a bit overboard.
Mm,
So not really truly checking in, is this the right moment for you as well?
mm,
And not truly being in tune with this connection. Or then just, yeah, like you said, not being able to handle the consequences of like, oh
mm,
my God, this was a lot more than I was expecting in me.
mm,
That something that I thought it was a small comment becomes like a big thing, especially shame. Then it's like, oh, okay, I better take off. So I think it's just like the learning path, like so much pushed down. Then it's like, I'm so excited about being so alive. And then maybe the connection part is less relevant or forgotten. And then when people practice more, they get more nuanced and skillful, like, oh, there's me and there's you, and we both matter. So it's not just me dumping things on kind of empty canvas, but there's an actual other human. And then there is, of course, we work a lot with people pleasers. So for them, this is also crucial. No, right now I'm not willing to hear more.
mm,
So setting some really healthy boundaries, noticing maybe for the first time, like the signals of the body when it's like, okay, I listened to you quite a long time. Ooh, this is just, I'm not willing to do this anymore. I actually want to eat. I want to do something else, or I'm starting to get a bit overwhelmed. So it's kind of the fine balance. What is like, I'm still willing to hear, or it's really a no for me right now. And then how do you do the no? So it's not like, fuck no, I'm out of here, but like, hey, thanks for sharing all that. And now I noticed I'm not able to be present anymore. I don't want to be present anymore.
mm,
I'm willing to continue another time and not now. So yeah, something around just people's learning path mainly, I think. And also, I think it's especially with anger and these difficult emotions, it's like, because it has been for most so unwelcomed and so like taboo, that then it is big often in the beginning. And when I lead workshops, I receive quite a lot of anger. It is almost like I'm a professional person receiving anger from others.
Mm.
And it's a gift. So I can mostly be in the place like, oh, thank you. Thanks for showing yourself in that way. Okay, it was a bit much maybe. And still, like, wow, you've been real with me. You're not bullshitting me.
Mm.
And then when people practice, it's like, oh, they catch it earlier. So then it's not this explosive thing anymore or very loud. It's just like, hey, I didn't like that. And that's enough. And that's, for example, how I operate in my relationship. I try to catch things early enough so we spend very little time angry, because it's like, hey, I'm angry at you for saying that or arriving late. And then I stay in the eye contact. I stay with that. I'm being heard. And it's like, I'm done. Thanks. And then half an hour later, I don't remember anymore. What was I angry about? Not sure.
I'm curious how, like, at least in the circling practice that I've spent a lot of time in, we focus a lot on this concept of owning experience, which for me is sort of a journey into deeper truth. Like, how deep a truth can I reveal? Where it's like, it might be like the top level might be like, I'm angry with you for, but then when I actually feel into it, it's more like, oh, I get scared when you behave like that because something. And and I wonder if there's something similar in the radical honesty practice of this, like, dropping in. I have I think from some of my experiences, I have more the impression of the importance is to share what is there with the energy that is there, and not sort of making it smaller. And then when that is done, you go into the investigation. But like, the energy seems to be in focus, where I think in the circling practice, sometimes we emphasize sort of the dropping into deeper layers of truth and trying to share from there instead.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit different approach. And for me, it's like hard language first. And hard language for me is I'm angry, I'm scared, I'm nervous, something like that. So that's like just the raw thing. And then when I have that emotional wave of expressing that, then I can go to the head language, which is slightly more analytical, like, oh, I think this relates to that, and these pictures come to my mind, and then it can be a combination of head and heart. But if we start with the head, and I'm not sure if that's what you're saying at all, but for me, when people start to explain before fully expressing, then it's difficult for the other to receive, because there might be justification, there might be blaming, rather than, oh, this is just my experience, I'm expressing it, and then I go to explaining and exploring. And sometimes it is blaming, and that's okay too, but then fully owning it, rather than in a kind of sneaky way, building anger, blame, guilt trippy, whatever together. So that's how I see the process. And then some people don't have, for whatever reason, the right place to go very deep to explore what are the other layers. And some people do have it. And in the workshops, of course, we can support. So, okay, what does this person remind you of? Or what does this situation remind you of? Or what is happening in your body right now? And then with those supports, sometimes people can access easier than in a real life quick situation where it's just like, oh, didn't like that. That's it. And then hopefully with that practice, people come more aware that, okay, the anger, the sadness, the shame is the first layer. And then there's the other stuff that is also often very important for me to understand how I'm, again, reacting this way and see my patterns, how I show up. And sometimes it's just like, yeah, I think you're chauvinistic. I didn't like that comment, and that's all. So sometimes there's just not much deeper in it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the whole societal level, of course, as well, with these structures. Like I use the word chauvinistic. So yeah, if somebody calls me a girl and I'm 53, I most probably find that diminishing and trying to make me small or something. And then it's just like, yeah, just that word is not right for me. That seems like we're not in eye level anymore. And then there's a whole thing of whatever in the society, how sometimes women are treated bad still, or something like that, or the pain in the history of my family line. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess it sounds quite similar, but maybe coming from a slightly different angle than what how I would usually do. I think for me it's like if I feel reactive in some way, it's like can I? It sounds like the radical honesty method is to bring the reactivity and then see what it's about, because then the energy is released and there's more space for it, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess which I would do that sometimes as well. And there's a different kind of practice that is like, okay, can I actually do that work myself? So it's like, okay, I notice that I'm reactive. And maybe I can just bring that is like, oh, I feel really reactive with you. And it's actually because I want to be close with you and I'm a bit scared of misalignment or like that. There's somehow can I get through the reactivity myself and then speak from a deeper truth, which is always some kind of wish for actually connecting or being with each other. Because otherwise I wouldn't be reactive to it, right? Or like rarely. If I didn't care at all, it would be like, why would I even be here?
Yeah. I think it depends a bit for me about the situation. If it's my closest people, I rather have the raw expression because I want them to know me. I want them to see me. So I don't need to hold back anything. And if it's in some other context where I don't know the person very well, or for example, work context, then it just might not be appropriate and right. And there's not agreed framework or agreed way of being together. I guess I'm big on the expression for the reason that I have seen so many people just push down, push down, push down. And then they think that by analyzing, they're actually processing. And they're not. It's stuck in the body. And how I see it is like tense face, tense shoulders, like tight expression. And then, of course, some things, they're small and I just kind of explore them within myself and that's it. And I don't need to express. And still I see too much of people just not expressing out of fear often. And then, they're stuck in them. And then, eventually the body just talks louder and louder and we start to actually feel more tense and more pain in the body. And to the extent that people are like having really chronic pains because they're just tight and tight and tight. And so kind of, I guess it's finding the right balance.
Yeah, I like it. I can definitely see sort of in this field of practice that there can be a tendency sometimes to trying to be better than we are. So it's like I have to express myself in a kinder, more compassionate, open-hearted something way, and that can really be a barrier for being real with each other and just showing up with what's actually there. So it's like if there are judgments, then I'm bringing the judgments instead of holding them back because I should be a not judgmental person. And the radical honesty practice really seems to have that at the core, that like the being real with each other comes first.
And the thing is that we are all judgmental. I really get very suspicious when somebody says, oh, I'm not a judgmental person. Yeah, right. Most probably you're even more judgmental than most of us, because then there's a lot of push down stuff rather than, we are all judgmental people. It's part of our survival. So it's there for a reason. It's not a big deal. So the problem comes, I think, when we make it a big deal. Like we're just all the time zooming, safe, not safe, like, don't like, interesting, not interesting, exciting, scared. And that's automatic. It's not a big deal. So why would we make it a big deal? It's just how we are. So yeah, I have judgment, I can let it go. And sometimes I express it, sometimes I don't. And sometimes the most powerful thing is like, oh, I'm not sure if I like you. Oh, I notice I have had time being in contact with you and I've been avoiding you. And then those, like it sounds quite harsh, but those are often the start of like, wow, what is this about? And then few hours, oh, I actually do like you.
Mm.
And I was just like, you have these things I envy you about, or unsure about, or I'm uncomfortable with, and it's still kind of very interesting to me. But there's something where my system pulls because maybe you're so different to me, or you're too similar to me. So this daring to have that kind of stuff in a agreed environment, of course, can be so powerful.
Mm.
And we are so dynamic too. It's like in this moment, I don't feel any connection to someone. It doesn't mean anything about what happens 5 minutes later.
Mm.
So kind of taking all this very lightly. It's not a big deal.
Mm. So, like from what I've traveled quite a bit around in a few different practices, and
Yeah.
a particular quality I think I see in radical honesty is that it seems easier for people to bring into their lives than
Mm-hmm.
a lot of sort of the authentic relating and circling stuff that is, I don't know, in some ways more complex, at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
radical honesty is also pretty complex when you get deep into it. But there's something when you start, it's like it's hard to bring it out. You can't just go home and circle your parents like that
Right. Right. Yeah.
because you don't really know what it means, and it's like yeah, there's a whole complexity around it. But radical honesty really seems to offer something in like at least I've met a lot of people that are like, yeah, then I went back home and had completion talks with my parents and my partner and all my friends, and people seem to do that, which yeah, which seems both unique and really powerful in yeah in this practice or in your community.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's in the core, it's very simple. Like honesty or honesty. I don't even care about the label. And then, of course, in real life, it can get tricky because it's scary.
Mm.
Like I never, like never talking to your parents in this way, and then after whatever 40 years, 30 years, daring to do that,
Mm.
and then the release, it's often massive. And for example, when I started to practice this, and then went back to talking to my dad, that was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. Because yeah, he was kind of demanding and quite result oriented figure. I had to do well at school and well at my studies and well at work and and I kind of just took that in without questioning, is this me, and do I really need to do that? And even at times being scared of him and his shouting and all that, and then just going and telling the things I was angry about, how he showed up when I was a kid, and him listening to me. And it's like, wow, he's actually listening to me without interrupting, without making it a joke, without getting into sarcastic stuff, because that was his way of being quite sarcastic about everything. And then that experience of, I'm just being heard. He doesn't need to agree. He doesn't need to apologize. He doesn't, just allowing me to like be with this very scary stuff. And I was teary and shaky and everything. And he was, yeah, like a very different experience that I often had with him, just him listening. And then he started to share about his childhood. So I'm really like, I knew it was not easy and good, but I didn't know the extent how cruel his father, for example, was. So, okay. So it doesn't excuse how he was with me, but it gave me broader perspective like, wow, so
Mm.
you had it worse.
Mm.
And you did your best not to pass it all on into me. And then now my job is to do it better with my son. So that was so helpful. And then he did apologize. So that wasn't my like goal going to the conversation, but that was really nice outcome that he could stay with me reflecting and seeing how it was. And then he explained why from his point of view he was that way. And I get it. Like he wanted the best for me and wanted to push me and all that. Yeah. And then what happened in me was like, oh, actually now I let go of fulfilling his expectations. I live my life. This is me. I hope you like me as I am. And I'm not gonna like bullshit, stick with small talk. I'm just gonna be myself also with my dad. And yeah, just live my life. And that's what I did. And then the connection changed. So I chose more to share. I chose more to spend time with him. And that was such a gift that I didn't foresee coming. I just thought that it was the release of me sharing. But then the connection changed so much. And now he's dead. So it was like, oh, so I gave that gift to myself and to him, and he was able to receive it. And the big point, I think, was that I was so vulnerable and saying, I'm so scared, I worry. I just put it all there. So yeah, this happens to many people. Yeah, and I'm still feeling emotional about how I did it and how I heard many people do it. Like really, yeah, taking care of yourself. And not it's being on my side and not against the other, which I think is really the main point. Yeah, so it can really change and transform relationships. And even if the other one is defensive or not receiving, it's still, oh, I spoke up. And that's the main point. And that already changes so much. So yeah, that is what we do with big things and small things, going back and talking to the core people in our lives. And then hopefully getting some release, hopefully getting a different connection, or sometimes like, yeah, hey, actually you're ongoing to behaving in that way. I'm going to take distance. That's healthy. This is what I'm going to do for me, seeing the whole picture. So yeah, different outcomes, but the just being real with people, it can be such a gift.
It sounds like contexting these conversations is really important. Like when you talked about this conversation with your father, that like the way you brought yourself in was not in a sort of blaming him way, but more like revealing that it was scary for you and yeah, all of the stuff that was going on for you. And it seemed like that was part of what made it available for him to listen to you. And I'm curious how you teach that now when people come to your workshops, like how do you teach them to set those contexts?
Yeah, I mean, we have actually a very practical checklist, like, is it a private situation, so there's not other family around or a busy cafe or something? Do you need something to feel safe? So sometimes people go back and talk to a parent who was violent. So maybe you need to be close to the door, or you have somebody you can call in if you need. I mean, I have never heard violence happening in these talks, and it's possible. So how do you just make the safety? And then asking for consent. Hey, I want to talk about something. It might be really upsetting to you. You might get angry or triggered or sad. Are you willing to hear me? And it's not a monologue, so I want to hear you too. And yeah, and then just being really like vulnerable. I like starting with, I'm scared, I'm worried. I notice I'm nervous. I notice my hands are shaking. Just sharing something really like real about me. Yeah, and then it can go right or it can go wrong. I mean, sometimes the other one is really like, whoa, what the heck are you talking about? It wasn't like that. And that can be difficult. And still, I think it's like, okay, well, in my memory, it was like that. I'm not claiming I remember everything right. And for me, it's important to speak out. So that can happen. And I think still, in my experience, most parents do feel guilt. Like maybe 95% of the parents, they know they messed up something. I mean, as a parent, I know it's impossible not to mess up. So it's almost like somewhere there they have it in the field, they're waiting for it. And then just having it cleared, yeah. And then the parents might think, oh, but what about that time? And then the kid is like, oh, I don't remember that. So, and then also having that exchange that something was big for the other is not big for the other one at all. They don't remember it. So that is a very interesting kind of a reality check in a way. That, wow, you feel so much guilt for 40 years about doing that, and I don't remember it. It wasn't big for me. So that is also like so relieving. And then, of course, the parent might not remember what I'm talking about, and that's okay. I mean, it's still, if I own my experience And even if they say it wasn't like that, it's like, hey, this is what I remember. And this is not about debate who remembers right. This is about emotion. So just bring it back to the emotion all the time. I want to express myself to you in order to feel closer and not to carry this with me, to get over, to have a good relationship with you. And often with aging parents, it's good to say, yeah, I don't want you to die without talking about these things.
Mm.
And when people get close to dying, mostly they just really want to clear everything and be like in good terms with their loved ones.
Mm. Yeah, it sounds like sort of clearing, or I would call it cleaning up, is very at the core of the practice philosophy. That it's like sort of letting go of the stuff that I'm carrying, so that I don't. Yeah, so I'm lighter or more free in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say letting go and forgiving. And for me, forgiveness is about I'm not anymore carrying this with me. I might not agree with everything that happened. Like people have really shitty stuff, like the parents have been alcoholics or violent or totally absent. So that is painful. And it's not about writing over all those painful experiences, but rather I'm not doing myself a favor carrying this when I'm actually 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's about me. So it's in the end more about me and the other, and it is in connection with the other. So for me, forgiveness and letting go is so important because I'm doing myself a favor. And then it's not between us in a way because I was able to let go. And letting go in terms of not carrying, but not letting go in terms of I think it was okay. Not everything was okay. And that's life.
Mm.
And then there can be even a gift and a learning from that really not okay, painful experience. Like, okay, I turned out this way. For example, from my dad, like, yeah, I turned out this way, like quite effective, getting shit done, having what I consider good life and good work life because I learned how to thrive. So there was a gift, and then there was the pain together. So they often go like it's like the same thing. It's a flip side. There's the biggest pain and the biggest gift going together. So letting go, talking about it also allows the access to like, wow, there was something good in this. And sometimes the good is like, okay, I don't drink alcohol because I saw all that. Or I can support others who were also children of alcoholics or something like that. So it depends.
Yeah. Like in my experience I have not been to that many workshops with you, but there's really yeah, I'm very used to these spaces where we work mostly with strangers and like these group processes with strangers about what's showing up in presence. And I know you also do that, but for
Yeah.
me, the real power in what I've experienced with you has been sort of doing exercises with my partner or like with someone I actually know and care about, where it seems
Yeah.
that like the honesty practices seems to somehow cut through in a way where I can sometimes see, well, especially circling can get a bit sort of spacey. We can go out into sort of, oh, things are very complex and there's a lot going on, uh, and that can be really beautiful to be in. But I've really really appreciated from the honesty practices this like sort of, no, this is here right now. It's like,
Yeah.
I assume that you will be the one who takes more care of our child than me. What's that like for you? And then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, what
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
happening
Yeah.
here? And I really see a lot of, yeah, there's a lot of beauty in that simplicity, or like in that directness or
Yeah.
penetrativeness that I see.
Yeah. I think it's really getting more simple. That is a gift because when I get very eloquent and complex, people are not fully getting me. They're not really, and then I'm like, oh, but I'm not being seen, and you don't like hear me. Oh, what about if I just try to make it very simple? Like,
Mhm.
and for me, like when I was talking about my past and wanting to do well and pleasing my dad, so being smart was very important. And then when I allowed myself to be stupid, not understanding, that was just like, wow. At work, especially, like, hey,
Mm.
I'm not understanding your proposal. I'm not quite getting this. And then I could even see people around the table who were like, because it wasn't just me. So the gift of simplicity and even like allowing myself to be stupid,
Mm.
it's so great. And yeah, if I
Yeah.
want people to get me, I need to be simple. And some people have this thing with words, and then I just say, hey, great, thank you. And can you just put it in one sentence?
Mm.
Then they give 3 sentences. Okay, can you put it a bit shorter? And then it's like, okay, that's the core.
Mm.
So yeah, I think in the emotional communication, it needs to be very simple.
Mm.
And then there is the like understanding, explaining, exploring. That can be more complex, but the emotional thing, yeah. If you're like saying that you're in love with someone and you use 35 sentences, they're like, what was the core here?
Mm.
Rather than, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's curious. I often see that in workshops that people will actually start saying the truth. Like the first 10 words they say is the truth. And then
Yeah.
everything that comes after that actually models it or sort of backs away a bit or
Yeah.
makes it more difficult to hear. And it's like, but you already said the thing. It's like,
Yeah. But
just
we get
stay with
scared,
the
right?
impact. Mm.
Yeah. Because it's scary to just and stay with that.
Mm.
And we have learned that you need to be kind of nice and polite and explain, and your emotions need to be rational.
Mm.
And our emotions are not. Like there's something happening in the body,
Mm.
and then I'm like angry, sad, excited.
Mm.
There might be explanation, maybe it's not. It doesn't matter.
Mm.
What matters is this is how I am, and I'm telling you
Mm.
what happens in you now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is because we've been not taught that way. Like when we are growing up and at school, you need to explain. And yeah, there's no celebration of, I didn't get it. I don't understand. Oh, I'm confused. I feel stupid.
Mm.
I like you.
Mm.
I'm not sure about you. Which is how we are.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, really like the being stupid part. I'm teaching at the university these days, and it's one of the things I always tell my students there is like the biggest quality I've found for working as a consultant is to
Mm-hmm.
allow myself to be really stupid and say that I don't
Yeah.
understand what's going on when I don't understand what's going on. Because it's such a gift
Yeah.
to the space that I'm yeah, I'm just being honest
Yeah.
about that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah. I like what you're saying. And sometimes people ask in workshops, like, oh, can you explain why I'm reacting this way or why this and that? And I say, I'm not sure. I don't know. What do you think?
Mm.
And then we can explore it together. And there's like in my mind two things going. One is that I don't try to be above people. I don't try to be the teacher. I'm exploring with them.
Mm.
And then I'm also being real. I don't know.
Mm.
Interesting.
Mm.
Or even sometimes like, oh, this is an interesting situation. I don't think I ever had quite this situation before.
Mm.
I've been leading workshops for 11 years and wow, this is interesting.
Mm. Yeah. Is there, what's the question? Like, how do people start doing this stuff? It's like they can go to your workshops, obviously, but
Mhm,
like
mhm.
if someone wanted to sort of, if someone feels inspired and they're like, I want to lead a more honest life,
Yeah.
and I want to start doing that now, uh, what would you advise them to do?
Yeah. So one practice that I really like is the 5 minute sharing. We put a timer. I have 5 minutes to share. It could be with my partner or with a friend or even in a family context. And that's my time. And I tell whatever is alive for me. And it could be starting with something surface and then often something more important or bigger come up. And even if it doesn't, it's like getting this thing about being used to, this is my time, I'm being witnessed and heard.
Mm.
Now it's your time and I'm witnessing and hearing you. I don't need to fix, I don't need to ask questions, I don't need to explain, I don't need to have an opinion. And even if I do, it's like, I have an opinion, I let it go. So
Mm.
getting into the place of sharing and witnessing. And especially with couples, I see that most couples are so busy, oh, what I'm going to say next, what I'm going to say next, and then they don't hear.
Mm.
And then there's this like, oh, I'm not heard, I'm not heard either. Like, rather than just creating kind of the context of being heard. And what I especially like is when we get sometimes we have families coming to retreats, so parents and their adult children, or people who have children at home, and several people have told that they do this practice, like they realized that they had like really stupid conversation over dinner table, and nobody wanted to have those conversations, and nobody spoke up. And then they started to do the sharing. Everybody had their time, and they said how it really changed. Everybody relaxed, and they actually got to know each other more, and they could go a bit deeper. Like, oh, that's what's going on in your life. Wow. So that is one thing. Very, very simple.
It sounds like it takes out some of the, I don't know what to call it, but like the social correction things that we do when we're in dialogue with people in our everyday. It's like we're subtly sort of managing each other all the time. When I respond in a particular way while you're half into a sentence, and then it's like, oh, that was a little bit wrong, so let's dampen it a little bit here, and that's not a welcome truth. Like there seems to be a lot of that going on that gets sort of cut off when it's like, I have 5 minutes and it's my 5 minutes and you'll just listen.
And in 5 minutes there is enough space for enough volume. So even if you wanted to respond to something, then other material came along. So it's also noticing like how we want to respond to this and that, and well, it's not that big of a deal, because the main point is it's your time and I'm just seeing you. So that's one. And then the one rule we have is that you don't use what the other one shared against them. So it's not like I'm just waiting my time to say, I didn't like that and I didn't like this. And you use I language. So it's about me. It's not about you. So it's like not my 5 minutes to you did this or you did that, but this is my experience. This is what's going on for me now. So that's something anybody can do wherever, really, even at work. Can we all just have a little bit of time to share how everybody's doing before we start the meeting? I think it's such a relaxing and powerful way. So first you actually connect in a human level, and then you go to business. Then, of course, the other thing is to complete what is incomplete, like what I talked about, the honest or completion talks, like going to someone, asking for permission, sharing what I didn't share with them. And sometimes it can be small even. Like, 2 years ago when we went to that trip, I didn't like when you did so and so, or I acknowledge I wanted something I didn't tell you and it's been bothering me. I'm just owning it up. Could be apology as well. Hey, it's a long time ago. I apologize somebody for things that happened 25 years earlier. I just realized, shoot, this is still alive for me. I got in touch with the ex-partner, said, I'm sorry. The way I broke up with you wasn't okay. I didn't like it. I'm sorry. And he was like, no, it's okay. I said, no, it's not okay. I just want to share. And then that's it. That's what I wanted to say. So yeah, going back and talking whatever is there. Anger, sadness, appreciation as well. I appreciate you for all these things, for being my friend for all these years. And now I just really want to put it there and own it and feel it. So So yeah, honest talks.
Do you have a guide for completion talks somewhere?
Yes.
That I can add in the description?
Well, there is quite a comprehensive thing in Practicing Radical Honesty book.
Okay.
And we have something shorter. I could send you something, and I think it will take me a little bit, because one thing we have is quite long, like more than 20 pages, so it's not going to be serving here. So I could do something a bit shorter and send to you.
Yeah, sure.
But it will take a little bit of time, because we're
no worries. I just like the idea of adding some material that's sort of available.
Yeah.
And then if people want to practice more and are interested in your workshops, where would you recommend people to start?
Well, our website is honestyeurope.com. So there's a list of all the workshops. We do weekends, retreats, also private retreats. And that can be quite powerful for couples. And also sometimes we have people coming, like adult child and their parent. So it's like really focused time for them. But yeah, we have all these formats to try out. Then there's videos available. Some people want to check them out first, like, do I trust this person enough to join an event? Sometimes we do webinars. I think we'll do one in this spring as well. So yeah, there is, and people can email and ask questions as well. So it's not that if somebody's very scared about aspect that they just need to like do this big leap, but rather, I'm scared about this. Can you tell me more? And then we can have a conversation.
Amazing. I guess it's time to end around now.
Yeah.
I just had the idea during this because I know that you always end your workshops with the Gestalt prayer, or like your own version of the Gestalt prayer. Could you just do that for me, and then we'll close from there?
Okay. So it goes like this. The instruction is that just notice your body and see what happens in you when these words come. And then we are in a circle, and also repeat them if you feel like it. And if you don't, that's okay too. And it starts, I am I, and you are you. I do my thing, and you do yours. I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you are not in this world to live up to mine. Nobody is in this world to live up to anybody's expectations. If we come together, it's beautiful. If we don't, it can be helped.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.